What's up, everybody? Welcome once again. This is Syracuse Basketball Postgame presented by Krause Health. We're live on the Syracuse Orange Basketball Facebook page. We're live on Twitter. We're live on Syracuse Orange Sports on YouTube as well. And we are coming off the heels of did that just happen after what we saw Tuesday? Yeah, Syracuse beat Wake Forest. 94-72 was the final score at the Carrier Dome. Now, just a few days ago, Syracuse lost to Pittsburgh in a game where they scored 53 points. They scored 94 points in this game. I don't know, shoulder shrug emoji guy, but Syracuse will take it. The fans will take it. A big sigh of relief. And guys, I think it's settled. I think that Giannis and Thanasis Antetokounmpo have to come to all the SU games now. They put on a show, the Orange did, for the NBA MVP, two-time MVP, NBA champion, and his brother sitting in the Adam Weissman courtside Spike Lee seats at the Carrier Dome. And it was a heck of a performance from Syracuse, particularly in the second half. You guys already hopping in the comments there. We'll highlight some of the things that you are saying throughout here. I like this one from Tom, a Cobra Kai win. No mercy for the Orange. All the best from Cooperstown, New York. Lovely Cooperstown, New York. Lori, I think, feeling a way a lot of Syracuse fans are tonight. That was awesome. Matt making a great point here. Most complete game of the year. That's really the Syracuse team I think a lot of people were looking for. Dale asks a fair point here. Where's that been all season? Good defense, good shooting, bench help as well, as we'll go over. Benny Williams is the guy people talk about a lot. That has not played off the bench, has not been there. But it was Frank Anselm who had the terrific play off the bench tonight for Syracuse. So you guys keep it going in the comments there. We'll highlight some more of those as we go. But let's go inside the numbers a little bit here. And where you start is here. Buddy Boeheim had 30 points in this game, 12 of 21, 6 of 11 from three-point range. Buddy was white hot in the second half. I believe 19 of his 30 came in the second half. You guys can check my math on that. But he had a huge second half. Syracuse outscored Wake Forest 55-30 in the second half of this game. All told, Syracuse shot 57% against Wake Forest. That'll get the job done. 53% from three-point range. Syracuse was 10 of 19 from the outside. Big stat here. Huge stat here. Wake Forest had 17 turnovers in this game. Syracuse collected 19 points off those turnovers. The Orange turned the ball over just 5 times in this game. A huge swing in that department. Rebounding was even. Second chance points were even. Syracuse got 15 points off the bench, which is not something you normally see. Syracuse outscores Wake in the paint 42-32. So Buddy certainly led the way, but Cole Swider showing some swag out there tonight. 8 of 11 from the field, hit a couple of threes. This is really the Cole Swider that Syracuse has been looking for all year. It's his best performance since a January 5th game against Miami when he had 20 points. Jesse Edwards got himself into foul trouble a little bit again. He did not foul out of the game, but he ends up with 12 points on the night, just 2 rebounds, but scoring inside 5 of 8. Frank Anselm, terrific in Jesse's place, carrying a lot of minutes out there, playing 17 minutes off the bench, 7 points, 6 rebounds for Frank Anselm, including a couple of great dunks. And he is showing a lot of athleticism in the paint, a lot of somebody tweeted me this, that he looks a lot like Rakeem Christmas in his early years. I agree with that. Very controlled, very measured in the paint. Huge for Syracuse to get that off the bench. Yeah, Benny Williams got some time in this one, guys. 10 minutes for Benny, 3 rebounds. He scored on a free throw and played good defense, had a couple of good defensive plays out of the zone. Jim Boeheim saying earlier this week that, Benny had one of his best practices of the year. You practice well, you get in the game for Jim Boeheim. I mean, Patty Casey's hitting shots at the end. You got walk-ons coming in against Wake Forest. That was one of the better teams in the ACC coming into this one. Wake had won, I believe, 4 in a row. 5 of their last 6, I believe, coming into this game, looking great. They've looked terrific. They were 4-1 as a team since beating Syracuse earlier this month by a final score of 77-74 in overtime. But the Orange, the much better team tonight. Look at that second half score, 55-30 for the Orange. So look, this is what Syracuse can be. This is the Syracuse team people have been waiting for. that can really hum on offense. Buddy has one of those nights, backed up by Cole. Didn't even have a huge game from Joe Girard in this one offensively. He had 13 points. He wasn't a slouch out there. 4 rebounds, 4 assists. But, Joe's just been in that rut the past 2 games prior to that, where if he didn't start well, he didn't finish well. Jim Boeheim even saying Tuesday after the Pitt game, I don't know what to tell him. He's just not playing the way he needs to. He was disappointed in his play. So he even bounced back tonight from this one, from those prior 2 games that were bad. And look, this was a week filled with agita in Orange Nation. There was a lot of talk about Jim Boeheim's job, people fired up, and that was a bad loss to Pittsburgh. We talked about it Tuesday night, guys. That was a bad loss to Pitt. No ways around it. The players were upfront and honest about it. Jim Boeheim did a couple of interviews, his weekly scheduled interviews, both on the radio and on qsportstalk.com, and was pretty honest about how this team was playing. Nobody was happy with it. He took accountability, saying it comes back to me as the coach. I haven't recruited well enough. I haven't coached well enough. Pretty open and honest about it all week. People were pretty upset with Syracuse falling to 9-11 prior to this game, now 10-11. And they have not been under 500 this deep into a Boeheim season. It doesn't correct all their ails, but man, they needed this one. What a bounce back. What a punch back for Syracuse after it was an embarrassing game Tuesday. There's no ways around it, but the ups and downs of a college basketball season, we have seen it in 1 week with this basketball team. So boy, they needed that. And as Mike says here, they unleashed the Beast Buddy buckets. And as Jamie notes here, Jamie, I lost your comment there. Jamie was talking about, there it is, the energy across the board for Syracuse. And look, as a fan, no matter how you feel about the overall state of the program, the long-term state of the program, which came up a lot this week, this just had to feel good if you're a Syracuse basketball fan to see a game like this, see this team play as capable as it could. The defense, to me, is what stands out. This wasn't just Wake Forest falling over itself. They certainly were responsible for some of their turnovers, but this is a good defensive effort for Syracuse. They counter with only 5 turnovers themselves. They took advantage of those points, and that's not something that Syracuse has done well in recent games. Points off turnovers have swayed heavily the other way. Pittsburgh in particular took advantage of that stat, and it's just not something that Syracuse has done a good enough job cashing in on as of late, but they certainly did in this game against Wake Forest. So you get back to 10-11, you keep scratching, fighting, and clawing, trying to make something of this regular season. This is still a team that's far from postseason contention at this point, but they've got a month to go, and that's what really was kind of disturbing to see, frankly, earlier this week. I wrote a couple columns about, Jim Boeheim's future and what the fans were saying. It's not that you couldn't talk about that, but people were, doing the autopsy on this team. And I really tried to take a step back wherever it was, on the radio, on social media, Orange Weekly, whatever forum I had, to say, guys, we got a month and a half to go here. There's a lot of basketball to be played. I'm not saying they're going to turn things around and make the tournament, but can we not do the autopsy on these guys quite yet? Let's see how this plays out. Because look, you got to give them credit in the sense they fight. They play hard. This is not a team that was dispirited. And I did an interview with Jimmy Boeheim on Thursday. He joins me on the radio weekly, and you could see how much it affected him. So as upset as you were as a fan on Tuesday after that loss, and, nobody's candy coating that thing, it was a terrible loss. They feel it way more than we do, and way more than the fans do, way more than anybody does, right? And they turned that around and fueled what was a pretty impressive performance tonight, particularly in the second half. I mean, let me jump back in the numbers here, because Syracuse, we mentioned they outscored Wake 55-30. They shot 23 of 37 in the second half. That's 62%. 5 of 9, that's 55%, whereas Wake in the second half, 11 of 26. It's not bad. It's 42%. 4 of 12 from three-point range, which is 33%, but Syracuse was just blistering from the second half. Buddy in particular, that's not a career high for Buddy. He fell 1 short of his career high of 31 points, by the way. Shows you some of the other great performances when Buddy gets that heat check going in the past, but almost got there tonight. And yeah, Giannis and Thanasis sitting courtside. Best crowd at the Dome this year. The students were back, which was a huge factor. Shout out to Otto's Army. Shout out to the students. They came in force. They had the blizzard inside the Carrier Dome. Wherever you're watching tonight, my guy Ed is watching from Blue Ridge, Georgia here. Defense turned it around in the second half, which turned to offense. And pardon me, huge blizzard up and down the East Coast, as you guys know, a major winter weather event out there. I almost knocked the table over there. It didn't hit up here in central New York. We got spared the winter weather for once, but the student section, they had a blizzard in the student section. They were all white T-shirts, showed up, energized the crowd, of course, with Giannis and Thanasis there. Finally had some juice in the dome. Finally had a great crowd, and they got a great product, right? There had been so many things working against Syracuse in terms of attendance this year. The weather's been terrible. It's terrible today. I mean, we didn't get the blizzard, but there was a high of 10 degrees around here today. Students haven't been around for a lot of home games. Obviously, COVID has affected people going to games and COVID protocols and all those things. Didn't feel like that at all tonight at the Dome. So just a nice sigh of relief for a lot of people out there that were just kind of looking for this. And in particular, I'm seeing a lot of comments from you guys here. Marie asking, did Giannis give us good luck? Yeah, Marie, he's just got to go to all the games now. I know he's got like a day job, like being the NBA MVP or something like that, but he's just got to go to all the games now. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't make the rules. That's just what the rules are. Katie notes in here with both Benny and Symir in the game, they were an off the dribble threat, which I noticed opened the floor more for perimeter shooters. The ball just moved better when the two ISO-type players were both given freedom. Good observation there, Katie. Symir was back, by the way. Good news there. So obviously his knee injury, not a serious one. Just missed one game total for Syracuse. It does change things up. It takes pressure off Joe. Symir is getting better at finishing at the rim, right? Symir's numbers tonight, I don't think he really popped in the box score there. 2 assists on the night, played 6 minutes, scored 2 points. But your point is well taken about the dynamic and the change. And I just like that, Syracuse looked like they were using a hockey line tonight. At one point, Benny, Frank, Symir come in, mix it up. Frank was great in what he played. We mentioned 16 minutes in for Jesse Edwards. Things are coming together there, and that's got to come together at practice. Jim Boeheim's got to see it at practice. John Bolajak, by the way, was not made available tonight due to COVID protocol, just in case you were wondering about him at this point. But, Jim talks about that all the time. Agree or disagree about this. If he doesn't see it at practice, he's not putting you in the game. Benny is one of his best practices of the year recently. He plays solid minutes. Frank's been getting opportunities. He's the main backup when Jesse gets into foul trouble, but he's been playing well at practice as of late. It shows tonight, right? So again, with a month to go here, and these guys really starting to find whatever rhythm they have, they're still challenged in a lot of ways. This is how they have to play to win games. They got to score in bunches. They got to shoot the lights out. You can't have Buddy scoring 30 every game, but they need Buddy to be a primary scorer. Cole helping out. We can't say enough about Cole Swider there, guys. This is what you need from Cole. This is why they brought him in. This is what they expected from Cole Swider. He was locked in, confident, shooting right away, not only from the outside, taking it in, had a nice dunk in this game. And I think a lot of people, there's been spots of it through the year, but I think a lot of people are like, yes, there you go. That's the Cole Swider that Syracuse needs to see. Larry wants to see a little bit more of Benny out there. He had a nice confident shot right from the free throw line, got fouled on that play. But you could see his game coming along, and we mentioned the great practice that he was having leading up to this week. Michael saying, were we that good, or was Wake that bad? Tonight, Syracuse was that good. They were sharp. They moved the ball, defensive stops, taking advantage of the turnovers. Obviously, Buddy's great game, Cole's game, Jesse contributing when he was in, the great bench play. I think tonight it certainly was Syracuse was that good against Wake Forest. And we mentioned it, guys. Wake Forest was one of the better teams in the league coming in to this. Kind of one of the, the ACC's down this year. So being a top half ACC team, I don't even know what that means this year, but they're a tournament team as we speak. This is going to hurt their resume. You hate to say losing to Syracuse hurts your resume, but that's going to be the case. Wake, I think, still makes the tournament. They're still a really talented team. And I'll tell you, that's a big note there as my man Steve checks in here and says, how much of defense is about determination to play defense? Aren't these the same slow guys we saw in other games? One big note there defensively, as you noted, Steve, against a much more athletic team. Now, Williams hit 27 points for Wake. He didn't play in the first game due to COVID protocols, but Alondas Williams was held to 8 points in this game for Wake. He is the best player in the ACC. He's the front runner clearly for ACC Player of the Year, and he did not play well. Williamson and Monsanto, combined in this game for 39 points. They didn't play in the first game against Syracuse, but the big stars were held down for Wake Forest. There was some defense out there tonight for the Orange. And as Sean notes here, I loved all the steals on defense. A total tonight in 10 steals. Great point there to put that in the comments. 10 steals for Syracuse tonight. Been a rare case this year, folks. Defense has not been there this year, but against one of the better teams in the league, it certainly was tonight. Scott says, great win. Reminds us of why we love Syracuse basketball. One of the two best wins of the year. The other being over Indiana. Hard to argue that for sure. Lynn watching, where I hope it's warmer in Jupiter, Florida. The steals, the turnovers, offensive rebounds, hitting shots. Thankfully, use the bench. Fans need to make more noise. I was screaming at home. Loved the end when I didn't know anyone on the floor and that 3-point shot. Yeah, great to see the walk-ons get in. Patty Casey, the new Scranton legend, grew up in Scranton, idolizing Jerry McNamara, now a part of this roster. He got a bucket there at the end. And let's give him a shout-out, because you don't see these guys a lot, right? It was Arthur Cordes who had the buzzer-beating 3 for the Orange as time expired there. And would have never, if this was on FanDuel or something like that, walk-ons, Patty Casey getting in this game, no way, no how would I bet that would be the case. But there they were, ladies and gentlemen. As David notes, a leading rebounder was Frank, also played nice on defense. He did. Frank has had his moments this year. He's really taken advantage of his time. There have been moments where, he's gotten on Jim's bad side, just being out of position defensively and, just things mistakes that younger players make. But we're seeing more of that bench get an opportunity. And if they can hold their own out there with Frank, it was a little more necessary for him to hold his own, frankly, no pun intended, because Jesse got himself in a little bit of foul trouble. Now, remember, Jesse fouled out of the first game against Wake Forest with like 9 minutes to go, right? In this case, it was Frank holding down the fort a lot in the first half. And as you noted in your comment there, doing a great job on the boards. As Michael Antonio says, but Axe, what now? Yeah, I don't know what to expect now, to be honest with you. I mean, they looked terrible the other night, only score 53 points against Pitt. They roar out tonight, score 94 points. They're such a hot and cold team offensively. You kind of don't know what to expect. They got NC State next coming up at the Dome, and I have no idea what team is going to show up, right? That's been just this inconsistent roller coaster ride that Syracuse has been on at this point this year. Ira says there was a point after Buddy hit one of his threes, the camera panned, and you could see he said, I'm back. Lights out shooting for him on that one. David says that my colleague Mike Curtis acknowledged in the press conference that the Buck star would have selected Syracuse had he gone to college. Yeah. I had seen that along the way somewhere, and good job on Mike Curtis, who was on Orange Weekly this week, and you guys should read his stuff and follow him on Twitter, of course. I know I had seen it along the way on the internet somewhere, and if it's on the internet, it must be true, that Giannis, had he gone to college, would have picked Syracuse, and he did acknowledge that. I believe Mike has a post up on that on syracuse.com that you should check out that, woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? The guy was never going to college. He was that big of a talent, top 15 pick in the NBA draft. And look at him now, 2-time MVP, NBA champion, one of the biggest stars in the world. But nice to know that had he gone to college, that he would have wanted to play for Syracuse. There were some rumbles, too, about how Syracuse had their eye on Kevin Durant. And one way or the other, that worked out. He goes to Texas for a year before going to the NBA. A lot of what-if stories in recruiting out there. Those certainly seem to be two big ones, though. Look, the stars come out at the Carrier Dome. So Giannis and Thanasis for this game. We'll see who else Adam Weissman has up his sleeve. Maybe we can get Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills quarterback, coming in. I mean, if you dream it, you can be it. No, I mean, I don't really think you can validate the courtside seats as Spike Lee status until we get a Kardashian in here, right? I mean, come on. What are we doing here? Pete and Kim sitting courtside. Let's go, right? The stars come out at the Dome. So, yeah, they've got to go to all the games now. They were the good luck charm for Syracuse out there. They were taking a lot of pictures, posing with fans, signing autographs. So Good to see that at the Dome tonight. And like we said, man, the atmosphere was just so much better at this game. That was needed as well. So a lot of timing on that one. Christian notes Buddy's best stat line of the year, a great all-around game for him. Yeah, Chris, imagine Giannis is in the Dome. Jim, yeah, thank you for correcting me. That NC State game is on the road later this week. So, yeah, that's what's up ahead for Syracuse. They go to NC State Wednesday night. That is Groundhog Day, right? That is a 9 o'clock start. We've had a lot of late starts as of late for Syracuse. And then they will host Louisville. And how about that? Chris Mack earlier this week, I guess he was fired. One of those kind of mutual parting of ways during the season. That fell apart quick. So Louisville's a bit in turmoil right now. So that's what's up ahead as the calendar flips to February later this week. But thank you for correcting me. That game is on the road at NC State. And Doug says it here that that's the best game Syracuse has played all year, the best complete game that they have played all year. Hard to argue with that. You know, you look at some of their wins, you know, when they beat Pitt the first time around, you know, 77-61, had enough separation there. Been a lot of close games for this team. Indiana game earlier this year. When Syracuse, it's been a mix. They've had a lot of heartbreakers. They've had a lot of heart-racing games, cardiac cues coming out there, a few convincing wins. It's gone all over the place with this team, right? A win like this, though, over a really good team, certainly their most complete win over a good team. Those upper echelon ACC teams. And again, there's not a ton of them this year, but hard to argue with that with the 17 turnovers that they, or the points off turnovers they got. Let me double check that stat while we're talking about it here. 19 points off turnovers, off 17 turnovers total for Wake Forest. That was big. Using the bench, Buddy scoring, Cole scoring, right? Like all the elements that this team needed. I think that's a great comment. This certainly was the most complete win of the year for this team. Let's see. Yeah, Lori noting it here. The West Coast fans love those 9 o'clock starts, right? But Jamie does not. Killing me with the 9 o'clock tip times. Don't they know I'm old and that's my bedtime? Yeah, not good to be drinking coffee or tea this late at night, but that's how it goes sometimes to stay up to watch these games. But I think it settles down after that. NC State, 9 o'clock, Louisville, 2 o'clock, at Boston College, February 8th. That's an 8 o'clock start. Virginia Tech. Boy, you see Virginia Tech, by the way, the half-court shot Miami hit on them to knock down Virginia Tech today. Woo, heartbreaker there. Nooner against BC, so some reasonable starts up ahead on the schedule for the Orange here. Let's close out with a couple of your comments today. Brian says, found out today in my daughter's baby gender reveal, it's a boy. Well, congratulations there, Brian. That's great. So what are chances that Jim Boeheim will still be coaching when he's 18? I'm thinking star point guard. Probably better than you think, right? When's Jim Boeheim retiring? I don't know. I think the clone of Jim Boeheim is going to coach this team for the foreseeable future. So congratulations there, Brian. New boy in our house too, by the way. Trying not to wake him up. Little puppy. We got a new puppy today in the house. So, you know, you might hear occasionally during an upcoming post-game show, you might hear the puppy chiming in out there. So it's Animal House. Got 2 dogs and 2 cats out there running around now. I don't know what the heck I was thinking, but, you know, puppies, they're so cute. What can you do? We'll bring him in one time once he gets settled in. We'll bring in Blaze. Blaze is the puppy's new name. So we'll bring him on the show sometime. You know, puppies equal ratings, right? So the ratings will spike just by bringing a puppy on the show. So congratulations to you as well. So we'll end there for tonight. And we will get ready for Syracuse's next matchup, as mentioned, at NC State. Late start Wednesday night, 9 o'clock. But we'll be here because, as noted from some of you, you're all over the place. You're on the West Coast. You're all over the country. Time does not matter on the internet, friends. We will be here as soon as the game is over and do what we're doing now. If you do miss the show live, remember, it does archive on YouTube. It archives on Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, you can watch the video right there on Facebook. I do a post on syracuse.com about it. It appears in my recap. So if you missed the show live, it's always, we put it on Twitter as well. So follow SYR Basketball on Twitter. Easy to follow if you do miss the show live, especially if you want to go to bed after the game on Wednesday night, watch the replay the next day. That's cool. But then you can't be one of the cool kids in the chat right now. So that's the trade-off, right? Well, you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Be kind of bummed to not watch the Bills in the AFC Championship game tomorrow, but, you know, que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. Syracuse fans certainly enjoying this one. Big win over Wake Forest for the Orange, 94-72. And we'll see how Syracuse does Wednesday night. Chance to even up the record back to 500 against NC State. Thanks for watching tonight. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. This has been Syracuse Basketball Postgame presented by Krause Health.